Today, let's talk about Cinco de Mayo. Do you celebrate Cinco de Mayo? Have you ever celebrated Cinco de Mayo?
Cinco de Drinko in college a little bit, but
Cinco de Drinko, is that what they celebrate in college?
that's what they celebrate in college. You just drink tequila all day and eat tacos.
Tequila and tacos does sound good though,
Right? Right? Who could be mad about that?
right? So I mean I really didn't know much about Cinco de Mayo, so I figured we could talk about it and see what it's from. Cinco de Mayo, or the fifth day of May, is a holiday that celebrates the date of the Mexican Army's May 5th, 1862 victory over France at the Battle of Puebla during the Franco-Mexican War. The day, which falls on Wednesday, May 5th in 2021, also known as today, is also known as the Battle of Puebla Day. It is a relatively minor holiday in Mexico. In the United States, Cinco de Mayo has evolved into a commemoration of Mexican culture and heritage, particularly in areas with large Mexican American populations. That's pretty cool. I had no idea it was about them beating France, being like, haha, we've won.
Yeah.
Cinco de Mayo is not Mexican Independence Day, a popular misconception.
Mm.
Instead, it commemorates a single battle. In 1861, Benito Juarez, a lawyer and member of the indigenous Zapotec tribe, was elected president of Mexico. At the time, the country was in a financial ruin after years of internal strife, and the new president was forced to default on debt payments to European governments. In response, France, Britain, Spain sent naval forces to Veracruz, Mexico, demanding repayment. Britain and Spain negotiated with Mexico and withdrew their forces. France, however, ruled by Napoleon III, decided to use the opportunity to carve an empire out of Mexican territory. Late in 1861, a well-armed French fleet stormed Veracruz, landing a large force of troops and driving President Juarez and his government into retreat. The Battle of Puebla, certain that success would come swiftly, 6,000 French troops under General Charles Latrille de Lorenzes set out to attack Puebla de Los Angeles, a small town in east central Mexico. From his new headquarters in the north, Juarez rounded up a ragtag force of 2,000 loyal men, many of them either indigenous Mexicans or of mixed ancestry, and sent them to Puebla. The vastly outnumbered and poorly supplied Mexicans, led by Texas-born General Ignacio Zaragoza, fortified the town and prepared for the French assault. On May 5th, 1862, Lorenzes gathered his army, supported by heavy artillery, before the city of Puebla and led an assault. The battle lasted from daybreak to early evening. When the French finally retreated, they had lost nearly 500 soldiers. Fewer than 100 Mexicans had been killed in the clash. Although not a major strategic win in the overall war against the French, Zaragoza's success at the Battle of Puebla on May 5th represented a great symbolic victory for the Mexican government and bolstered the resistant movement. In 1867, thanks in part to military support and political pressure from the United States, which was finally in position to aid its besieged neighbor after the end of the Civil War, France finally withdrew. The same year, Austrian Archduke Ferdinand Maximilian, who had been installed as Emperor of Mexico in 1864 by Napoleon, was captured and executed by Juarez's forces. Puebla de Los Angeles was renamed for General Zaragoza, who died of typhoid fever months after his historic triumph there. Within Mexico, Cinco de Mayo is primarily observed in the state of Puebla, where Zaragoza's unlikely victory occurred, although other parts of the country also take part in the celebration. Traditions include military parades, recreations of the Battle of Puebla, and other festive events. For many Mexicans, however, May 5th is a day like any other. It is not a federal holiday, so offices, banks, and stores remain open. And then, it's interesting that, why would we celebrate it so heartily? And they say here in the United States, Cinco de Mayo is widely interpreted as a celebration of Mexican heritage and culture, particularly in areas with substantial Mexican American populations. Chicano activists raised awareness of the holiday in the 1960s, in part because they identified with the victory of indigenous Mexicans over European invaders during the Battle of Puebla. Today, revelers mark the occasion with parades, parties, mariachi music, Mexican folks dancing, and traditional foods such as tacos and mole poblano. I do love a good mole sauce. Some of the largest festivals are held in Los Angeles, Chicago, and Houston, and college campuses everywhere. I'm guessing Cinco de Drinko.
Yeah, Cinco de Drinko every year. It's a big thing, you know?
Huh.
Adam, as you were reading this article, I was just thinking about how interesting it was that, back in the day, we had men that would go and battle each other in these bloody day-long battles. And now if you use someone's, pronoun wrong, they go cry and hide in a corner for probably the full day as well.
It reminds me of a quote. I fail to remember. I can never remember who said this on Twitter. I just randomly saw it and I was like, that's a good quote. I like it a lot. Those who complain about microaggressions have never dealt with macro dangers. And that's what those men were dealing with, macro dangers, things that were actually threatening their lives and livelihoods and families and country. Whereas these microaggressions, people misgendering you or, mispronouncing your name, or, just silly things that people rage over on the internet are just so inconsequential to
It's
life.
so
Like, it just
true.
means nothing.
It's like we had these men who were, like bloody, war torn in battle, fighting for their country. And now we're trying to make up just problems for ourselves because we live in so much comfort and there is really no issues that we have to deal with on a daily basis. There's
Yep.
no, wars that we're having to fight, we're a part of. We're all safe and sound. We're living our lives normally. And that's why we create all of these just fake problems because, everyone's kind of looking for, I guess, worth in life. And
Purpose.
yeah, exactly. Purpose.
Purpose is huge. I
It's
mean, what
so
is our purpose
interesting.
now? Like, purpose for most of humanity was procreate, to probably have kids, to help your own farm, which was part of number 2, make sure you have food. Those 2 things, and shelter, right? Those three things, right? You needed to do, or else you weren't like um, functioning in society. You had to grow your own food, or had to make sure food was available to you, a roof over your head. And it's like nowadays, it's like people don't realize that we have homeless people
Yeah.
in this country that are living better than most people on this planet,
Adam,
right?
I was in Austin this past weekend, and the
Uh,
homeless in Austin, I'm not joking. They have smokers outside. They do barbecues. They have cars. They
Seriously?
have, yeah, they have like front patios. They even have couches. They have,
Well, if a homeless person has a car, doesn't that mean they have a place to sleep?
I don't know. It's a mess. They literally have like parking
I don't
and
know.
everything. It's a mess down there. But good news with Austin though, the constituents down there were trying to pass Proposition B, which was going to put an end to the open camping in Austin, and it did pass. So
So no
here's
one's allowed
hoping.
to camp
They're not
freely?
allowed to anymore, but here's hoping that the Democrat mayor doesn't try and somehow sidestep that proposition, and they're
I
able
wouldn't be
to,
surprised.
yeah, fix up that city. So here's
Gosh.
hoping.
I've been
Hmm.
to Austin a couple times. Austin's pretty cool. It's a
It's
pretty cool
awesome.
place.
It is
And
so cool.
I've been kayaking on the river there. It's really a pretty place.
It's
And the campus
gorgeous.
is really nice. Yeah, I hope it doesn't I hope Texas stays Texas, because every time I've been in Texas, Texas is awesome. The people are awesome, and Californians are moving there in droves right now,
Oh yeah, and they're bringing all of their problems with them, and I'm just like, please, just stay over there. Don't come over here.
right?
Yeah.